Welcome back to Pink Slip Pavilion, where we are turning pink slips into power moves every Wednesday. If you are not already subscribed or following, please make sure you do so you never miss a story. This week we have Eileen Suarez, who is changing our mindset around what it means to be laid off. This is her laid off to lift off story.
This pink slips the stars, not the end.
All right, Eileen, welcome to Pink Slip Pavilion. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to share my story with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we have to start with the number one question, which is, have you ever gotten a pink slip? Which in this case is a layoff. It can be a termination, but typically it's a layoff. You don't see it coming.
Yes, so I did get a layoff back in July, early August is when I was notified. And it did come as a surprise, but a lot of organizations are having a lot of restructuring. So I've kind of prepared myself over the years because it hit my team several times over the year. And I was impacted. I did have a lot of time to be able to really reflect on it. And it's been actually a really good experience. The more I've gone through and the longer it's been that I've been evaluating what happened. And I'm excited to share that with you.
Well, let's start with your mindset in the moment because I love that there was a transformation and we're definitely going to talk about that. But in
Yeah.
the moment, when you got the news, walk us through where you were in life, in your career, your mindset. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so in my career, I had spent 26 years actually in the financial services industry, and I was one of those people who was really intentional and strategic about what role I did next. And so, just to give you a little bit of background about my history and my experience, I started working in the insurance industry back when I was 17 years old. And I ended up doing that for about 22 years. And then I found my passion and my purpose. And I said, you know what? I really want to do what I'm passionate about. I've been very successful in my career. I've been able to go through different levels. I had some leadership positions, and I was ready for something different. And so I made that decision, and that was a big change. A lot of people are like, wow, you spent 22 years building this successful career. Why would you change after that? So for the last 4 years, I got into learning and development space and I absolutely loved it. And I would never go back because had I not gotten there, I wouldn't have been able to find the passion and purpose for developing others. And so after 4 years, I just absolutely loved my job, loved what I was doing. I was doing a lot of facilitation and coaching and developing employees and really creating transformation in people's lives. And then it happened. That day, I got the 15-minute meeting on my calendar, like a lot of people get. That's the first indication. And you're like, the office was really quiet. A lot of people had this like feeling something was going to happen. And I got pulled into the office and they told me that I had gotten laid off. And at the moment, you kind of question like, oh, was it something I did? Is it my performance? But, honestly, I'm very confident in my talents and my skill sets and my strengths that I knew it wasn't something personal for me. But at the time, there was the uncertainty and the fear, right, of the unknown and what am I going to do? And I'm supporting, my family and, all these things. And so that was the thing that went through my mind. And I'll be honest, over the last couple of years, I kind of played it in my mind. I'm like, how would I react if this were to happen? Because I mean, it's just the world we live in today. And so, of course, you get emotional, right? And you get upset, and then you start thinking, okay, I don't want to get stuck. And this is something I teach people. It's like it's a big mindset thing, and it takes time, and it's not something overnight you're going to be able to change. But I had to start thinking, okay, like, did this happen for a reason? And that's truly how I changed my mindset is, for a long time, I've always wanted to have my own business, and it was something I prepared a couple of years ago to do something like this, just in case, right? So I kind of, like I told you, I was strategic. So I just in case started a business that ended up being really successful. So when it did happen, I started thinking, maybe I should keep applying for jobs in the organization I was with because there was opportunities. They did lay off our whole department, but there was opportunity. So out of the fear of the unknown, I started applying for a lot of jobs. I mean, like 10 plus jobs. And then what happened? I couldn't sleep at night. Honestly, what was happening is they didn't have a lot of lead level positions like the position I was in before I left. And I was kind of having to not shrink, but like change who I was, right? Like I got to go back. I was working so hard to build where I was, and then I ended up having to go step back and I had to apply for lower level positions, and that didn't feel good for me. So what did I do? This is where courage kicked in and my belief in myself, and I said, you know what? I'm not applying for these positions. I withdrew all of them, and I ended up saying, you know what? If I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And I took this actually as an opportunity to do what I was intended to do in life. And I always knew I should be in coaching and I should be transforming and helping others who feel stuck in their lives. And now I'm the example. And that was my layoff to lift off story. And I actually share this with people because there was like 40, I believe the number was 40 of us that were impacted by this layoff. And we all, everybody has different ways that they handle things. Some people get very emotional and they start doubting themselves and they start thinking, why me? And why did this happen to me? But what I did is I started thinking about what are two good things that happen every day after I got laid off. And that, if anybody's listening, that is exactly what you need to do because if you get stuck in the oh, what's happening and what's going on and why is this happening to me and am I valuable and all of these things, you're going to start really messing with your mindset and you're not going to be able to move forward. So by having awareness and looking at the things around me, that really let me shift how I felt about it, and amazing things started happening from there.
For sure. And I want to highlight two things you said. One, you started a business kind of
Mhm.
anticipating what might come down the road because of what we're living in, the current state of things. This is a very common thing. And I know there's a lot of people that start side hustles and businesses. And part of it is I don't know if I'm going to lose my job because job security isn't what it used to be. But I also
Mhm.
want to highlight what you said about writing down two things every day
Yes.
that you're grateful for that are positive because oftentimes we get analysis paralysis when we're looking at our entire life, which has
Mhm.
just been shaken up, and we go, how do I fix everything? And everything feels overwhelming. And if you focus on just two positive things, all of a sudden you're back in the present. It starts to feel more manageable. You've shifted your mindset to the positive, and now you can start taking steps forward again. So I think that's incredible advice. If you're listening to this, please
Yes.
take that, run with that. That is such a great tool. So you talked a little bit about how your mindset shifted and evolved through the process. Let's talk about if you could go back in time and you could talk to that version of yourself who is just getting laid off. What would you want her to know?
Yeah, so what I would want me to know is it's going to be okay. And I don't have to completely have everything figured out. Again, like this isn't about a performance thing. It's just companies are restructuring and we can't be hard on ourselves and saying, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? I actually ask myself, what if I don't do something differently, right?
Mm,
Because if you don't do something different and you say, oh, job security, I got to stay in this organization, I got to stay where I'm comfortable. If you stay comfortable, you're never going to grow. And you don't need to be completely prepared for what you're going to do next. You just have to take those small steps to start moving forward. And so that's the biggest thing is don't get stuck in the mindset of, oh my, what am I going to do? And what if this, what if this? Don't think about what ifs. Think of what, if you are going to think about what ifs, it's like, what if I don't do this? And so honestly, I saw this. It took me a while, of course, to like really get this clear in my mind. But once I had the clarity, I got the courage to do something a lot of people wouldn't do. I had been in corporate America 16 years and I had built this really successful career. I was continuing to learn and grow. And that's another thing is take advantage. If your organization has learning opportunities for you, take advantage of those. A lot of people don't, and that's where I think a lot of people can get really stuck is, well, I don't have this degree or I don't have these certifications. All I know is the job I've been doing for 20 years. What am I going to do next? Make sure you diversify your skill sets and understand your strengths because when you do, it is a powerful combination of how you can truly move forward and you can have the confidence, unshakable confidence to move from stuck to unstoppable in everything that you do. So my advice to myself truly is just, really like if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you, and use this as an opportunity, not as something that's limiting you and taking your identity away, but what is the true identity that you have and how can you use that to move forward in your life and your career?
I love that you touched on identity because I think that's such a huge part of a layoff experience because it's a big life event. It's like a divorce. It's like when you really get to the
Yeah.
root of it, it is a big life-changing event. It affects your income, it affects your friend groups, it affects everything in your life, your routines. So identity tends to be a place where we feel a little bit lost, especially after 16 years in corporate
Yes.
America. You're established in your career. You love the company you work for. It's very
Yeah.
jarring to all of a sudden be thrown out into the wild and go, oh, wait, who am I? How do I
Yes.
view myself? How do I identify myself? So I love that you touched on that.
Yeah, and you know what? People tie their identity to the place that they work, and that is very common. I mean, I love the organization that I worked for, and I could have stayed there. Like there was options, but in my mind, I was like, you know what? This is my opportunity to grow. And what came from it was me realizing I thought I wasn't a risk taker, but obviously I am because to let all of that I don't want to say go because I'm still doing. The great thing is, I actually use those talents and those skills and the strengths and the certifications and the education and experience that I got to build my own business. And I couldn't be happier. And I don't see it as, what if this doesn't work out? I don't think that at all. I'm thinking, okay, this is something I've always wanted. And I don't need to be completely ready. As I mentioned, I'm emphasizing this because a lot of people that I talk to are like, well, I need to get my ducks in a row and I need to do all of these things. I need to have the website. I need to have the clients. And you don't. You just need to have the faith and the belief and the confidence in yourself to know that you can truly do anything you put your mind to. You just have to have that drive and you have to know your purpose and your why. And when you know that, that can drive you to moving forward to the life that you want, you deserve, and that's intended for you.
I love that. So I think that's a great segue into blessings. What blessings would you have missed out on had this not happened? If you had stayed at the company and stayed in the role that you were in, which you did love, had
Mhm.
you not been laid off, what blessings would you have missed out on in your life, do you think?
Oh, well, a lot. So being able to leave a legacy, I did do several first ever efforts in the organization that I worked at. And so I do know 100%. And many people have told me that I've left a legacy. And so I feel great about that. But the legacy that I want to leave today is even greater than the one organization that I worked for. And so had I not got laid off, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, and that's building confident leaders across generations. So I'm not just my passion and my heart is for coaching our youth to a brighter future. And had I not done this, there's no possible way in a 9 to 5 job that I can, meet with schools and work at universities and work with people around the world. I was stuck with one organization. And so being able to have an impact on a larger amount of people is something I would have missed out on because I have a lot to offer and I want to continue to transform people's lives. And had this not happen, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would keep working that 9 to 5. And yes, it has job security, it has great benefits. I meet a lot of people, but another thing and a big blessing is I have met so many amazing people because there is a lot of power in networking. It's not just meeting people, but it's like creating these lasting relationships, and one relationship can change your life forever. And so I feel like I have more opportunities to get out there to really see the things that really excite me and light me up. And every time I find opportunities to help individuals, now I have the time to do that. I have more time with my family. I'm able to travel more and not be stuck to a desk, right? I have more control over my schedule. And honestly, this is just my opinion, but I do feel sometimes that corporate can limit you. And what I mean by that, you can continue to move up, but there's only so far you can move up. And that's why restructuring happens sometimes is they have to make changes due to salaries or, there's always a ceiling. But I feel I have unlimited potential, right? Like I can reach my potential now and there's nothing holding me back. If I want to, I have this big goal for myself and for my life, like I can do it. And so that's what I think is the blessing in it is now I have control over my story and where and who I become.
You've taken a hold of the pen and you're now
Yes.
doing the writing. And I think people underestimate how much you stop learning in corporate at times. And this is like my own experience too. But when you jump out on your own or you take a pause from a layoff, all of a sudden you have the time to go, what do I want to learn?
Hmm.
What do I want to spend my time on? And all of a sudden you go, I have so much more capacity to learn things and to be creative than I even thought because I've lived in this lane. I've been put in this lane of this is where I'm going, this is what I do. And now all of a sudden, it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
And you can learn whatever you want to learn and you can create whatever you want to create. And I think that's one of the blessings too that's hidden in the layoff experience.
Yeah, and the self-awareness, with the 9 to 5 and working in corporate, you're moving at such a fast speed all the time and you're in your groove. It kind of becomes monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over, and you don't really have time to pause and reflect on what's happening and what you're doing and who you're becoming and or who you want to become. And so this has gave me a lot of time because it happened back in August. We're now in February, and I've had a lot of time to just reflect, and I've just had tremendous growth since then. And my confidence has always been high, but now it's just I keep rising, and I'm taking aligned actions to ensure that I build the future for myself and my family that I've always wanted. So it's really amazing, and I'm grateful for the corporate world because I always tell people. If you're a natural entrepreneur and that's what you want to do, I do feel that corporate really has a great place in that, in this way that it helps you to get experience. It helps you to find your why, your purpose, your passions. And I feel all the time that I spent there, that was all the practice I needed, right? To be able to say,
Yeah.
hey, I know exactly what it is that I want to do. And that clarity became so clear over the last 6, 7 months.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
What would you say you've learned about yourself that maybe you didn't know before this experience?
Yeah, I never used the word risk taker or courageous. And so I have learned that about myself. I've learned that I have a lot of faith because, going from, as I mentioned, 16 years and having my whole career, like it was all mapped out. I knew exactly where I wanted to go, what's the next role I wanted to do. But this really opened my eyes to who I am as an individual and the value that I can bring to the rest of the world. And so it just really helped me to be more intentional and have more self-awareness. And to this day, remember back in August is when I told myself I'm gonna think of 2 good things that happen every day. Actually, I have a notebook that every day I document like a great relationship that I built or someone that I met or what is a success story or a win for the day. And so being able to really like do journaling, I never had time for that. I do that now, and that's another great tip is the more you write stuff down and the more you document it, your mind is very powerful and it will start making that happen. It will believe it. You have to put the effort into it. But those are the things that I'm learning is my mind is so powerful and truly I can do anything that I put my mind to. My favorite quote is, whatever you believe you can achieve. And I totally believe that. In addition, I have learned that if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So those opportunities that used to scare me, I'm like, I'm all in. Give it to me.
Like,
I'm ready
bring it
to try it
on.
out. Yeah, bring it on. And I've always been that kind of person, but I'm just even stronger now. And I also don't let things bother me as much as they used to as well. Like I'm like, okay, it didn't work out, so move on and try again. And so being able to pivot quickly is something that I'm learning as well.
I love that. Very, very powerful, especially because we often get stuck in if I make the wrong decision, what will
Yes.
happen to my life? And there's always another decision on the other side.
Yeah.
So, wrapping up, if there's somebody sitting watching this and they are about to be laid off, they are afraid to be laid off, maybe they've been laid off in the past but are still kind of working through the emotion, or they're walking through the journey as we speak, what would you want them to know? What would be your advice to them walking through this journey?
Yeah, well, what I would want them to know, and I'm speaking directly to those of you listening, is this does not define you. And when one door closes, you've always heard this, another one opens. This is a redirection for you, and it's another opportunity for you to do something you've always wanted to do. Many of us are scared to do that. And again, you don't have to be completely ready. You do need to have a little bit some ideas and thinking about what you can do next, but always be prepared. Have that resume ready. Update that resume regularly. That is the one thing I saw with the group of us that got laid off at the same time. A lot of people started getting really nervous and not knowing what to do because they didn't have that ready. Practice interviewing. Like, just be prepared for whatever the next thing is going to be and know your why. Because if you don't know what your why is, you will feel lost. You will feel stuck. And the more you can have more self-awareness, start building your confidence and really knowing what your strengths are, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to go from stuck to unstoppable. And this is not an easy move. It's something that you just have to deeply self-reflect on. But just know that this next chapter is going to be an amazing one, and you have to stay positive at all times.
So powerful. Thank you so much, Eileen, for joining us in the Pink Slip
Thank you.
Pavilion. We're grateful to have you in the community, and hopefully, we will have you here again in the future.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm just really grateful to be able to share my story. And I want those listening, remember to make your layoff your liftoff story.
Love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you didn't already know the power of your mind, I hope that you're leaving this episode knowing that your mindset plays a crucial role in how you are going to approach and grow through your layoff journey. If you were inspired by Eileen, you want to connect with her, all of her contact information will be listed below. Please feel free to reach out to her. And if you're not already subscribed or following, make sure you do so you never miss a story. We will be here every Wednesday because on Wednesdays we wear pink and we talk about our pink slips and how we turn them into power moves. I'll see you next week.
This pink slips the style.